very deep and proud here. My great-great-grandfather, Alphonse Freeman, was the dragoon so trusted and revered that he alone was responsible for the procuring of this city site and the original fort, where he raised the flag and named it Fort Worth. I've always been proud of Fort Worth and all it stands for. We have always been known for our visionary, pioneering, courageous spirit. Unfortunately, that courage and vision has been lost in transition at our Fort Worth Animal Shelter on Martin Street. I have been active in dog rescue for 10 years in Fort Worth and surrounding areas. I cannot possibly begin to address all of our problems in 10 minutes, nor can I outline in that time the myriad of possible solutions which might solve them. I can, however, convey to you briefly my own experience in an attempt to point out the dire necessity of acknowledging these problems and moving forward with a plan for the execution of their solutions in an orderly and a prompt fashion. Beginning last year, I had my first casualty to distemper. Harley was pulled on May 8th and died on May 17th, distemper complications. But this year has been the one which has snowballed on the distemper front. I am a small rescue. In the past few weeks, out of 9 dogs I have pulled from FWACC, I have 1 dead dog, rescued April 9th, dead April 23rd from distemper, 2 very sick dogs diagnosed with distemper, and 4 showing serious symptoms of URI distemper now. That is 7 out of 9 in 2 weeks. I speak from my own experience, but I know many others present here tonight who have lost dogs to distemper. Some of the rescues report as many as 15 in 1 week. When FWACC was confronted, the position that became, we do not have a distemper problem. So our groups began sending our dogs to Texas A&M for necropsy reports. Reports are being confirmed positive for death to natural distemper. Facts do not lie. Dogs come in relatively healthy and go out sick. It isn't just the distemper. Puppies are being spayed at 10 weeks of age, long before such operations are safe. I would expect this in a third world country, but I live in Fort Worth, Texas. Human babies are never given more than 1 vaccination at a time, and yet these small puppies are subjected to receiving multiple vaccinations at once, being surgically altered, exposed to disease which can kill in only a few days. My transporter arrived at the shelter on Friday afternoon, May 3rd, to pick up a tagged dog, a small, young female, only 3 months of age. Zoe arrived at the shelter on April 28th. She was vaccinated, spayed, and exposed, and she was dead in her cage on May 3rd when they went to pull her, 5 days later. She died alone, and she suffered in her cage after shelter workers deemed she seemed lethargic. This is unacceptable in a city as large and capable as ours, and I am embarrassed for us. One would never take a human infant of 1 age which showed respiratory distress, vaccinate it with multiple vaccines, perform heart surgery, and send it home with no instruction for the parent, much less no compassion. This must stop. You may think it is only a dog. Those of us who work tirelessly for these voiceless creatures, this is a soul to us, a living being, which deserves to be treated fairly. That is not happening here. This is not a third world country. We are a sophisticated, wealthy city with vast resources, which for some strange reason is exhibiting a recalcitrant denial of the existence of a huge and deadly problem within our walls. I watched news reports in the past 10 days which quoted representatives of our city shelter saying, we do not have a distemper outbreak. I have watched and listened to dozens of families who took home dogs they adopted at the shelter to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on them for a URI, and then stood by helplessly as the dog died anyway. This is traumatic for people and for the children who bring them home. No one should leave the shelter without a handout explaining the dog they have maybe have been exposed to distemper, outlining the symptoms to look for, what to do, what to expect. They should be advised the dog should see a vet before they go home with it, after they leave the shelter. They should be told, under no uncertain terms, that the dog they take home should be isolated from all other dogs at home for a period of 2 weeks. Of regardless of whether their dogs are up to date or not. All dogs in the home must be up to date before a new dog enters the household.